Lurker? BBC. What's new? I see you got inspired and went home and picked up the airbrush. Did the Bassmaster Classic motivate you? Seems like it did. It did the opposite to me. Old stuff, BBC. Now you're tricking people. You're posting old videos. You tricked me, bro. You tricked me. I was over here thinking, dang, BBC got fired up. Hello, you didn't get to do any Orlando fishing? What's today? Today's Thursday. You coming home today? Try to do squeeze a little fishing in before you hopped on an airplane. At the Orlando, hello, I'll tell you something. The Orlando airport did not impress me. They still have their phone chargers up against columns in the middle of the airport. So you see people trying to charge their phones and they're having to sit up against the wall to do it out in the middle of the aisle. You can't even sit down in a chair and find a charger. I was disgusted. BBC, what was the biggest fish that you wrestled from your time between Texas and your home? You're smart, Hella. You have a battery pack. I have one of those. I never charge it, though. You can imagine that. If you can imagine that. Say that. Oh, John. 5-pounder hooked, an easy 10 on the Dream Pop. An easy 10? Was that at Spookies? What state was the 10 in? An easy 10. Smells like an 8 to me, but I'll take your word for it. That would have been nice. Have a 10 on the Dream Pop. You got close already. Sounds like a mudfish. Hella's calling Grinnell. Hella is calling Grinnell. Hella got something that would get you excited. This is my second guitar I ever owned. from my grandfather. He gave it to me. It was the strap packs they would sell in Walmart. That was the amp with the guitar. These have my most favorite necks of any guitar I've ever played. I buy the old ones if you can find them cheap and take the necks off of them and put them on other guitars. Uh, why is the neck black? Because it's from the neck isn't black. The piece of rosewood that's on here is just that dark. It's the kind of stuff you'd see in the old days. The way necks used to look back in the old days. Looks thinner, could be. I know one thing is comfortable. Fits my hand perfectly. Maybe it's because of how much I played it as a kid. I don't know. But it is my favorite profile. Apparently I'm not alone in this. Those mid 90s, early 90s Squire necks are quite sought after. Power chords are nice. Power chords are nice on anything. But what is this? Oh, wrong date. So I gotta throw some paint down on these. We have the RR5, which RR stands for Risto Wrap. And what we've done is rather than having to take a Risto Wrap, chop the lip out of it, insert a new lip, and do a Risto mod, Builder Dude has just carved a Risto Wrap frame and built the mod into the bait. So it's a from scratch Risto Wrap mod, which is the one in my first tournament that I painted, the one that me and Keith won, where I was throwing this little sweet potato jewel. This is that same bait. Finally coming back around. I don't know that I'm going to paint it in sweet potato since I feel like I just did a sweet potato in something. So I don't really know what color I'm going to paint these. Since it's a Risto Wrap, it makes me think I should do like a Fritz color, like a bone brown. I think that would be sexy. With some silver scales. I think I like the sound of that. Kind of like a hot chocolate, but different. But maybe like hot chocolate. I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna do something sexy, bone and brown on that one. And then we got the we did another DT8. So we're gonna because campers had asked for more DT8s, and I know Dustin Taylor already lost his DT8. The crawl with the blue, I'll have to look at their pictures and and rip them off because I don't even remember how I painted it. So I just have to look at how they did it and then just rip them off. I'll rip off the rip off. Hello, AJ. You look busy at work. It is a good running bait. Dustin was catching some fish and ready to use it in his tournament until he got snagged on something and lost it. But it's part of it. It hung up. And then he lost the bait, and I think he lost 2 of AJ's plug knockers. So, AJ, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm sure I'll have to reorder to get those replaced. Use my code HUNGUP to get -2% discount at Horseshoe Customs when you buy 8 plug knockers. Use my code and they cost you an extra $2. I like the one on the rope has never failed me. Hell, I use the like the hound dog style. It's like the big weight. It's got a loop, tie your rope to, and it's got chains. Knock on wood, I've been able to get everything I ever hung up off with the rope and chain retriever. And I've tried the dog leash and I've tried all that kind of shit, but I will say, is a monumental pain in the ass to reel off enough line to make the thing work. It is a nuisance. It is a nuisance. Yeah, I think he hung it on the. Sounded like he was hung up in some of the Black Death, the mat they put on bulkheads. That's what it sounded like. I have to go back and look, but that stuff usually, unless you can get it to tear and pull the sheet of the mesh up, once you get hung in that stuff, it's gone. It is gone. Knocked out a couple dozen crawls this morning and now off to the lake. Well, aren't you, Mr. Productive? I haven't knocked anything out this morning except some bait sanding. I feel like I came back. AJ, do you feel like you came back a little more motivated and with a lot of ideas? I feel like the opposite. I feel like I'm lacking ideas. Nice catch. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Morgan. I caught lightning in a bottle with that one, dude. I'll never do that one that good. Ken did it better. I actually own that bait. Did you ever hear that story, Morgan? How I got it back? Or anybody for that matter. See if I can find it. I say I have it. I used to have it. It's around here somewhere. It's around here somewhere. It didn't have hooks on it. I don't know where it is. It used to be hanging up there. But if anybody's curious what bait we're talking about, we're talking about this one. Nasty. Nastiest of the nasty. Not going to focus. But anyway, so I painted that for a guy, and I knew it was special. And I asked him, I said, will you sell me this bait? He said, I wouldn't sell you that bait for $100. How about 150? He said, no, I won't sell that bait for anything. He'd never fished it. I think it was just because I wanted it. And I was like, listen, dude, I'll get Burns to make you 2 of them. And I'll paint it like this. And you'll be good. And he said, no. Fine. So I send it to him. He goes out there and fishes it. And guess what happens? Somehow, some way, something was off. Bill was crooked, something. Didn't run right. So he sent it back to Burns. And Burns inspected it and said, yeah, the lip's a little wonky. I'll build you another one. Ships him a new one. Sends it to me. I paint it. We were talking. I said, talking to Burns. I was like, which one didn't run? He's like, it's like orange and blue. I'll be damned. Do you mind if I get that? And he's like, no, here you go. Comes back home. It didn't cost me a nickel. Funny how shit like that works, isn't it? Funny how things like that work. Hello, Scott York. Got it back without a dime. Offered $150, was turned down. If he were smart, he would have taken $150 and got more Burns. But what do I know? See, if he would have done the right thing, let me keep the bait, get him 2 more. He would have got more baits out of the deal. And karma would have been on his side. But it wasn't. So I was happy. I need to find that thing. Where did it fell? Because I remember it didn't have hooks on it. There it is. There she is. The one from the picture. Look familiar? Look familiar, Morgan? That's the one. That's the one Ken Iobi ripped off. Which I don't blame him. This damn, like, if you're gonna rip one off, at least rip off a sexy one, and that one is sexy. One day, Morgan, I've done it before. I've done the poor man's version on some. You've got them on some Hellcats. I did it. I've done it twice. I was looking back at pictures because Bobby Balsa posted it, and he posted the not as good version. So the first version I did was very succulent. The second version I did was not as good as the first or second. They gradually kept getting worse. Let's see if I can find a picture. But that's easy to do when you're painting one versus painting a bunch. Yeah, the first and second version. Yeah, that version you'll never get, because I remember painting it, and it's got like 3 different blues, and it's got a lot going on. Like, all in that front section, the blue section, I think there's 3 different blues, and there's a red, which makes it look purple. So there's a whole lot going on. So I believe this is the first one. I think that's the first one I did, the first version. And then there was a second version. I don't even know if I took pictures of it because it wasn't as good as that one. But they're all wannabes to that color. Oh, there it is. And then that one. I mean, those are pretty sexy, but they're not yellow enough. They needed more yellow. That was like the perfect combination. That first one was a perfect combination of all those colors blending together. Yeah, it needed that yellow on the side. That was a nasty drop. I think that was back in the 4-pack days where you got all 4. How many blues do you have? I think that's probably it. I have a light blue and I have a dark blue. I know for certain. Back then, I probably had. There's no way I have more than 3, because I know the 2 I used. Yeah, there's no way I've got, especially candies, because I've got one really light blue that I can't mix, and I've got a like a more dark blue. I think I had a sailfish blue. I want a flippin' blue though. I need a flippin' blue. Detail blue, sepia. See, I don't have any. I have a iridescent blue, and I have a candy blue. I have a base coat blue, which I never use hardly. I don't have that many blues. Lots of yellows usually. I feel like I have more yellows and greens, and everything else just kind of. And I really don't have that many greens. Come to think of it. I've just got two I use. Got two I use on everything. It's all the same green. I have a base color green that I add yellow or orange or whatever I need to make it the color I need. My bottles of blue have so much overspray on them that I don't know my blues from the yellow. What happens? That's how they need to be, Morgan. That's how people know you mean business when they walk in and see your paint. I say, man, this guy's not just farting around. Blue balls. What a great color, Dan. Blue chews get the Balsa dents. Blue chew. That should be a somebody should rename a jig color that. Morgan, have you thrown your Balsa megawort out in the wild yet, like in an actual fishing situation? BBC has a cherry rock crawler heading his way. Grind up the blue chews into blue paint. I don't know what blue chews are, guys. Why would that make the paint harder? What are these things? Am I living under a rock? What do they do? I'm all about making my paint harder, which I don't know if I could do that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I was just saying if anybody would have any funny quips. It'll make more than your paint harder. That's what I was looking for. Morgan came through. Morgan followed up. I guess that was too dry. Too dry. BBC language, bro. It's a family show. Lick that bait and crank your hog. What happened to you, dude? You went to that party down the street, didn't you? BBC went to the neighborhood party we were at. And I think he got cultured. I don't know who this guy is. I think he got. The classic changed BBC. Brennan needs to get up more often. This is the shit he comes up with now. I'm telling you, dude grew up. He took 10 years and added to his life. Can't wait for the next BBC live stream. It's going to be out of control. It's going to have girls over, shotgun and beers. music blasting. Might have been his breakout. BBC had to start shaving after Fort Worth. I think you're right, Hella. I think you're right. I think I saw his mustache come in. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Just hanging out. I never saw BBC's protege come back. There was a guy at the Classic Dudes that he was a young BBC in training. He was like, "Are these resin swim baits?" Yeah. He said, "I make swim baits, except I make them out of wood." I hear you. He's like, "Do you want to see them? Why not?" Look like a young man's attempt at a Roman maid. Looked pretty good, not terrible. And said, "You got questions about that?" He's like, "Yes." So you need to meet Brendan Brown, and so he goes by the name BBC. I said, and direct all your bait making questions at him. All of them. All of them. But maybe he'll look him up and hit him with some questions. Hello, Tim. When are you going back to Fork? Never? Never? Oh, BS. Yeah, I've never even seen, which I haven't looked that close, but it didn't look like there was any stubble developing from what I saw. From what I saw, I didn't see any. Like if you shaved that much, if you shaved every day, I feel like at some point you'd just be cutting skin off and not actually hair. JP, we've got the DT8s. We needed another one of those because the campers spoke and they wanted more 8s. And we've got a Risto wrap or a Risto mod from scratch. So the typical Risto wrap 5, where Barnes would take the lip out and then add the lip. This is that whole mod built into a scratch bait. So without having to have a bunch of Risto wraps to chop up, Barnes just went ahead and built the bait and put it in. That's the one I caught him on in that first tournament that we won. This one. Sweet potato. Tim, I will say that is the coolest thing about communities like around Fork, around Gunnersville, around Rayburn, Toledo, Kentucky Lake, like any of those big monster impoundments, Okeechobee, all the communities around those are built on bass fishing, and everywhere you turn is a bass fisherman, or like, you know what I mean? Like everybody's family fishes, and everybody like has a tie to bass fishing. And it's not a question of whether you're there to bass fish. Everybody knows you're there to bass fish. It's cool to experience. Didn't really see that at Fort Worth. Seems like people were a little bit confused while we were there. Um, Clay, I'm going to chuck it around up here and see what happens. Driving home. Get a buzz bait. There you go. People are getting buzz. People are getting fed on the buzz piece. That means I need to go out tomorrow and get fed on the buzz piece. Maybe I'll go launch the boat. Jerry World. Yeah. This is true. This is true. Full of great stepdads. Not so great regular dads. Is that true? Is that the reputation in bass fishing? I really ruined AJ. I ruined these my little holders when I did the WECs, because the tail hangers on those are really gigantic, and I had to like gap them really wide, and now they won't go back together. Now they won't go back together. They're like permanently fixed, gapped open. Everything that touched it was over 3. I believe that. That's typically my experience with the buzz piece. And usually, if you're not catching 3s and you're not getting bit at all, usually you can get one bite and it's a 5. That's what I like. I like where you have to throw it enough to where you're questioning your intelligence and your sanity, and you just keep going, and all of a sudden you get flushed and it's a 5, and you go, that's why I did that. That's why I did that. That's when you say, I knew it. Speaking of knew it, I was disappointed that Takahiro wasn't at the Classic. I was disappointed there was no Takahiro. I guess Yamaha didn't want him there. But that would have been great for Takahiro to be at the Yamaha booth all day and to have like full access to him. But wanted it slow. I've heard about people catching him reeling a buzzbait slow. Never experienced it. Never experienced it. My buzz baits seem to only go one speed. I asked Steve Kennedy if he threw those 1 ounce buzz baits anymore. And he said we haven't had a tournament in the fall for me to pull them out. So, the great speed buzzer debate. Yeah, it is a great debate. Speed versus slow. And we all know that fish are fish and they like different attitudes. They have different moods where sometimes they like stuff slow, sometimes they like it fast, but both techniques work. There's just only one that works for me. Just one that works for me. Anthony, I didn't see playful banter. Where would I find this? Where would I find this potential beef at? Where do I see this? AJ, I can believe that. That comes as no surprise. Reading it on a Reddit blog. Let me pull up my Reddit app. Most draggers are slow buzzers. Would make sense, wouldn't it, Hella? Would make sense. Let's see here. Reddit. That's why I asked you immortals who were able to go to the classic. I mean, Tim, you're in that group. Bassmaster Classic. Bassmaster Classic. This is I need the past month. My Hall Celeb Pro-Am in the Billy Strings thing. Didn't see it, but it looked like looked some stuff up online. Billy's fishing with Mike Iaconelli. Anti-scopers are so annoying. 50% off Omnia. Somebody's cutting into your Omnia code on Reddit. Hella, you need to get on Reddit, bro. It's only got 2 upvotes, so you're safe. I don't see anything. Let's look up Kevin Van Dam. All right, AJ, have fun. Don't catch them all in the buzz piece. Who's Live Will Lavelle? Everyone go downvote that guy. I don't see it. I'm not finding anything. Gotta sneeze. Let's see if I can find someone on the gram. Oh, let's see. I wonder if it was on his. Was it on his live stream? Was it a video? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't know where I'll find this at. I'll keep digging. All right. I'm going to get out of here too. I got to go spray some paint. Good talking to everybody. Campers, be looking at your email maybe tomorrow evening. Maybe. If I can get something on these. Any preferences on the RR5 color? I was going to do maybe a chartreuse. No, that's the one I was going to do Fritz. I was going to do brown. Brown and bone. I guess the DT8 is going to be the one that's going to have to be a odd color. I could do them both in the same color. The brown back bone would be sexy in both of them. I haven't done a matchy drop color in a while, where both baits were the same color. I don't like Parrot BBC. I don't like Parrot at all. I know it catches them. I just don't like painting it. It's an easy one though. Carp, like Strike King carp. It's like that dark yellow gold, the orange. That'd be a pretty good color on that bait. That would be a pretty good color on the RR5. I don't know. Let's put my thinking cap on for this one, boys. Blueback and chartreuse. I would rather do that. I would rather do like a faded dolphin than do citrus. Although I like citrus. I don't know what the heck to do. I think I'm about out of chartreuse, so that might limit me. Oh, you mean the Bama bass goldfish? That one caught them. That one did catch them, but I don't know where those. I don't know where there's where those stencils are for that. Honestly, I don't know how I did the shape down the side. I could probably find it. I could probably paint those baits 3 times over before I found that stencil again. So I don't know. Blueback and chartreuse is pretty universal. Maybe I'll try and sexy that up. I'll think of something. We'll do something. All right. You'll be good. We'll chat with you later. Adios.